It's a pleasure being back with you here in the Issues Room on our 164th edition Volcano Shelton here with you this evening. We're broadcasting from Coon Rapids, Minnesota. Um, Not in the regular studio on the East Coast in Philadelphia. That is why I look so dark tonight. Not enough lighting. You can't travel uproot your studio when you're going out of town. But anyhow, we had to bring our broadcast tonight, so I just like to welcome all of you to this broadcast. It's 164th edition. Good to see all of you. Please invite others to join us here tonight. Share the link. Um, Tell folks about the Issues Room. Love us, like us. Uh, Continue to engage the show. We hope that you can be a fan, be a follower, be a viewer, be a listener. We're here Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Currently being on the in the Midwest, it's about 6 p.m. here, 6:01 p.m. Uh, in the Midwest. But of course, our show time is 7. So I didn't change my time just so I didn't lose track of it. So I'm still set at 7 p.m. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Great to see all of you. And so let me join Moses Sandy out there in Delaware. Moses is not across the pond, is across the Great Plains.
I know. Yeah. I know. You must be having a great time in Minnesota
I,
today.
since I got here, I've been indoor. I have not
Okay.
even stepped foot out because I wanted to make sure that this thing worked. So I
Yeah.
had to kind of make do just to make sure that, we could
Mhm.
have our broadcast tonight.
Yeah. I noticed I'm a little bit lower. May I just adjust my camera a little bit? And you
Well,
see the high.
so I'll let you do that. Um, so quickly, we're going to be discussing tonight personal ego, okay? Personal ego versus national interest, the case of Liberia. And that will be a major conversation tonight. We'll also have what type of country is this and memory lane for Dr. Iman and Sumo. I'd like to welcome Fergie Monyu. Listen, Fergie, I think we got to give you the honor. You're
He
just one of
deserves it.
those committed
Mhm.
follower, and we appreciate your viewership. We appreciate you being with us every night, almost always the first to join the broadcast. So say thank you for being there. You didn't do much with it though. You're still on a lower plane. You can't
Uh,
be doing that, Moses. You're live.
okay. So
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
raw.
No,
But
no, I'll put you back. Continue to play with it a little bit. So, Virgil, we say thank you so much for coming in every time. We're here. We say this is not about the numbers. People have 6,000, 7,000 views. Whether it's real or it's you know kind of what you would call influenced by social media. You know, expert people trying to make some monies, but it boils down, Moses, to the conversation we hold in our audience. And surprisingly, people who we don't believe will be listening and watching are the people, we least expect. And they're here with us night in and night out. And so we got to show appreciation. And we say thank you to all of you who continue to do this with us. It's not for us. No one here is looking for fame. No one here is trying to be popular. These conversations are about our country and how we can discuss the issues to enlighten the people, to bring, some semblance of hope to the Liberian people as they traverse through these difficult times, these economic hard times, these troubling times. Our country is in peril, and it's no secret. There is a need for improvements, and when you think about everything happening in the country on a day-to-day basis, it's compulsory that we be engaging in these kinds of conversation, and we look forward to a lot of folks joining us, and we want your participation through the chat. When we open the lines, call. This is about your country. We can't continue to do this by ourselves. Moses?
Yeah, absolutely right. And let me say hi to our many viewers, listeners, wherever you are. We want to say welcome to the issues room. We really appreciate all of you for the time because the time we put in and you are also putting in similar time. We need to be grateful to you for that because putting aside all those relevant things that you have to do in your life just to be here with us every Tuesday, every Friday means a lot. So we want to say thank you, like Volcano said. I want to say thanks to all of you for being there for us. I would like to encourage you to help us share the link. Share the link, invite more people because this thing we're doing is not about individual, it's about the good of Liberia. That's why we come here. We educate because we want to see a peaceful and stable Liberia. So once again, Volcano, it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight as we come to delve into those critical issues that matter most to a stable Liberia.
My man, I look like one black Indian man tonight, man. I look like Babuji. The life is so poor. Hey, no Babuji. I look like
And
one tonight. But anyway,
yeah, but it's understandable. People know that you're not in your real studio, so that's
yeah.
understandable.
Anyway, great to begin this conversation. But Moses,
Yeah.
for trending news, what's trending in your world, bro?
Well, the trending news is it's a story that everybody is aware of. And it is also a troubling story. And this story has to do with the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Gloria Musu Scott, former Minister of Justice, Professor of Law at the Louis Attergrand School of Law, former Senator of Maryland County, former chair of the National Elections Commission. And we're talking about a notable character. Yesterday, the story broke, and what I saw, Volcano, it really broke my heart. Maybe if there are people out there who don't know what I'm talking about, as I speak to you now, the former Chief Justice, along with three of our family members, are currently at the Monrovia Central Prison where they have been detained. They were formally charged yesterday and sent to prison. Today, lawyers representing her, the charges that she's charged, the three of them, I mean the four of them, are charged with murder, which is indeed a first degree felony. They were also charged with conspiracy, criminal conspiracy, meaning that they concocted, as a group to engage into a criminal act. And they were also charged with the misrepresentation of truth, lying to law enforcement officer. So you have three salient, allegations against the former Chief Justice, along with the three family members. So yesterday, these people were literally berated, denigrated, and thrown into a pickup, surrounded by police officers, and taken to the central prison. Today, lawyers representing the former Chief Justice, they went to the magisterial court in Monrovia. They tried to secure a bond, but when you are charged with murder, is a non-bailable offense. And in fact, the magisterial court, the judge also said that the court, the court has limited authority over such a matter. So the bail bond that the lawyers were seeking, that bill was denied. So as I speak to you, the former Chief Justice and the other ladies are currently at the Monrovia Central Prison. You know how deplorable the Central Prison is. We have talked about this many times. I don't think you want even your cat to be taken to the Central Prison, given the deplorable condition that is going on. And what really hurt me yesterday, Volcano, Under the laws, when an individual is accused or when the person is charged with a crime, that does not equate to the person being denigrated, being disgraced. Women who been disgraced at that level. Volcano, when I saw those people thrown into pickles and treated as common criminals, I mean, I was disturbed. I don't know if you saw that video, but I don't think that's the kind of Liberia that we want to see. And let me give you the opportunity to say something.
Well, I'm not sure,
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, the
Go,
video.
go,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'm just trying to figure something here.
Okay.
Things just keep jumping around the place. So I was trying to get the picture of the Monrovia Central Prison.
Okay.
This Central Prison here, it been the same way since I was small boy.
Hmm.
Let me speak it the Liberian ways. The same way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
nothing
Yeah.
has
Hmm.
changed.
Hmm.
And interestingly, when you look at the country's age, 171 years, about to be 172. Look at
The
the
Central Prison.
most notable national prison in the country. Most notable national prison in the country. And where it's situated, that prison should be a jail, not a prison, because it has outlived its time. It
Of
should just
course.
be a jail. And you build a prison where it is completely outside of, you know, city limits, or put it that way, outside of civilization. That's what it should be like. Um, but I was discussing with someone today, and it came to mind that people who are in government, they don't put monies to where it belongs. The institutions that will come back to either save them or take care of them. For instance, the hospitals. We don't do good with our hospitals. But because we're privileged to be able to get out of the country when we're in government, we run to neighboring countries. The money you take to pay the Ghanaian doctor and the Ghanaian medical system, that could be put into JFK to produce the best medical results. When you neglect to improve your prisons, you will end up in your prisons. You might end up there. So what you didn't do for that prison to at least be on par as some kind of international standard, when you are taken there, the same way the other people were there, suffering the cold air, no windows, sleeping on the floor, cartoon, pee bucket, all that. That's the same thing you're going to experience. And I'm not saying that because I want to say against Gloria Musu Scott, but Gloria Musu Scott was the head of the justice system in our country. Gloria Musu Scott was the minister of justice in our country. Gloria Musu Scott was privileged to be a senator who is a lawmaker who could have propagated law and worked with her colleagues to build better prison system. Did she ever thought that she would be in central prison today? No, but that's the reality. That's the reality. And as I was, contemplating and discussing it with that person, I say, these people who continue to think that they're on the outside world and can take our resources and do as they please, when the day comes, the circumstances, when it changes in their lives, they could end up in our hospitals with no drugs. And we always joke about two people on one oxygen tank, or the
Man, I love that. Yeah.
that is dilapidated, that you said you cannot even put your animal in.
Oh.
That's a lesson. And a lot of time we have not gotten to understand it until we actually go into realizing it. And I'm surprised that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who was jailed in that same prison system, did not do anything with the billions of dollars we got in our country during her 12 years. I just thought to throw that in, Moses.
Yeah, I mean, you struck a very salient point. The central prison was initially built for 300 prisons, and today, as we speak, you got more than 1,500 prisons over there. So it means that people are literally sleeping on top of one another. There's report of full inadequacy. When we talk about sanitation, is extremely bad, terrible. The place is unkempt. So to take a former chief justice and throw her in there along with four other presidents, I mean three other presidents, bringing the number to four. I mean, look, Volcano, I think our political leaders, a good number of them have short memory. They don't delve into history. They don't reflect. And if they do, then I don't think they are really thinking right. I'm saying this to ask Mr. Weir and the others, where is Samuel Doe today? What did Mr. Doe didn't do in Liberia? You remember the 1989. I used to work at the Ministry of Information as a young reporter. I saw how people were bundled and put in the back of vehicles and taken to the executive mansion. Never came back. Where's Harrison Peno today? Where's Mr. Taylor? All the mayhem he committed. 750 years imprisonment. And you have
But
a young president.
interestingly, he
Yes.
was sleeping in white flour.
Yeah.
White flour.
Mhm.
Accordingly, when Taylor was president, when he's coming home, the entire one main artery,
Yeah.
the boulevard, shuts down, and the cars have to go by the Congo Town back road.
Mhm.
That's not even it is if traffic is that's an alley, that's a back alley,
Mhm.
right? And that's where they force every citizen who paid the money, who paid the taxes
They
for Taylor
deny
to be
that. Yeah.
president, to
Yeah.
block the one artery, the
Mhm.
boulevard,
Mhm.
but they force people to go behind it. Where is Taylor today? From white
Where's,
flower to a British prison.
yeah.
These people cannot learn. That's
They
why
don't.
sometimes we ask the question, what type of people
Don't
are these?
at these. They don't think.
What
They
type of
don't
people
think.
are these? What type of country are they coming from?
They don't.
They can't learn.
Our people just don't learn volcano. These guys have psychologically murdered this woman and her family members. The woman lost her daughter in such a tragic way, and the government decides to cherry pick. Look at all the crimes that are committed in the country. Even the guys who reportedly brought in the $100 million drugs to Liberia were never treated as common criminals as they did to the counselor yesterday, along with the other ladies. Where is Liberia headed? George Weah, who you think you are? Jefferson Koji, who you think you are? Samuel Tue, Musa Dean, Patrick Seru, who you think you guys are? Do you remember what happened to Samuel Doe? This is sad. This is sad. This is sad. This is painful.
But here's the
This
other
is
thing I
not the
wanted
kind of
to add.
Liberia that people stood in line in 2017 to give Mr. Weah the opportunity to lead. This is sad, Volcano.
Here's the other thing I want to add.
Yes.
So, interestingly, as I said, when we're in position, we don't do the things that will be right for everyone until we get to face the reality.
Yeah.
For instance, those of us here in the diaspora, what are we doing? We're working for every penny and taking it to Liberia.
Yeah.
We say we're tired with America. Oh, the country too high every day working for somebody. But how can you go to Liberia and work for yourself when the environment is not enabling?
It's not.
when the environment is not safe. So some folks, they go and build dream homes, but they can't sleep in the houses
Of
there
course.
because of the same issues, the security situation, the darkness, the hardship. You can be the lone emperor, emperor rather, and everybody around you are villagers.
No,
You will become susceptible. You will become a victim.
absolutely.
So the point I'm driving is that we need to focus on the things that are important in our society, the institutions that we would tend to run back to, And those institutions are the very jailhouse that we neglect. And if we are the power and we got arrested, we'll be thrown in those
Of
pits.
course, Volcano.
The hospital, as I said, if you don't put drugs, equipment, and the best healthcare practitioners, when you don't have it to run to Ghana and to neighboring countries and to India, you will end up dying in JFK because they'll just throw you in one corner and say, we ain't got no drugs. We ain't even got fuel in the generator. We've seen what happened to former government officials time immemorial.
Mhm.
We've seen that. And even the vehicle you ride, if you don't try to buy your own little car, when they take the government vehicle from you and fire you from the job, you will end up being on pimping like everybody else. Why these people can't learn?
People
Why
couldn't
they
forget
can't
it.
learn? Listen,
I love my man. Forget I did not want to lie. This is serious,
no,
but
they're
what
gonna
you
just make
said,
fun of you, and then you
what
end up
what,
pimping.
what you
So
said, my
when you
man,
are
just
there, you need to make sure you buy a little jalopy, let it be parked like a little race car in the garage.
yeah,
So they
my
take
man.
it to the government car for
Get your
you
leg
and let you
get
drive it off.
parking yeah. I know ever get your leg get the day you're not in power, so at least you have something to move you around.
I'm telling you. So that the
Yeah,
mistake they're always making, Moses, and this stuff kind of bothers me. I'm
sad.
going in places around this country in the United States of America. America is not heaven. America has its shortfalls. But those institutions that require attention, the people use the taxpayers' money to ensure that attention are put in those institutions.
Absolutely.
Because they know at the end of the day, they themselves will be serviced by those institutions at some point.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's
100%.
not the case in our country.
No,
That's not the case.
no.
Even the very school. Look at the University of Liberia. Look at the higher learning institutions in the country. They themselves go to those schools, come out, they don't know anything, but they feel they've arrived.
That's right.
How can you make education free and you put nothing into it in this economy, day and time, and expect to get good quality education out? It's not possible. So we are here tonight, Moses, to talk about personal interest, personal ego versus
Yeah,
national
first,
interest. And we thought to
yeah,
hold this conversation because it seems as though lately everyone is about the self and have forgotten the purpose of national interest and nation building. Everyone wants to be the star, beginning with the president to the janitor in Liberia. And we've seen this now taking precedent. You look on talk shows, you see people with honorifics to their name. Honorable
yeah.
Kev Hassan. Honorable for what?
When did he
For what?
when did he become honorable?
Dr. John Brown, you know, Ambassador Moses Peter.
Yeah, when did he become
Everybody wants
ambassador?
a title.
Yeah,
Just an example of how much that personal ego has taken over our country. And all of us can put titles to our names, but does it matter? You can be the best journalist, but let people be the one to say that.
yes.
Don't go about it. I'm the best president
I'm
since
the I'm
1847, but
I'm
the
the
country
funniest.
has no legacy.
No,
The country has no legacy, Moses, but George Weah wants all the legacy. The country has no legacy. The Ministry of Finance has no legacy, but Samuel Tua wants the legacy of being what? The best finance minister. How can you be the best finance minister? What happened to the other ministers who laid the foundation prior to your coming? And what have you done in 5 years that other people for 170 years did not do, or
didn't do.
165 years or so did not do?
Just said for
Go ahead.
1847, they
Go ahead.
didn't do. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean I was just buttressing the point, right? Like you said, the issue of personal ego versus national interests, and this has become more prevalent with the we administration. We did not see a lot of people, claiming to be the funniest finance minister, the best journalist, the most accomplished president. We did not see that with Mr. Taylor. We did not see that with Samuel Doe. We did not see that with President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. But unfortunately, when Mr. Weah ascended the presidency, then all these are, fake, comments about being accomplished leader started coming out. Mr. Weah considered himself, or he called himself, Liberia most accomplished, or Liberia best preserver, as you would say in the typical Liberian parlance, meaning that what he has done in less than 6 years surpasses what Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the others did over the years. I had the opportunity of listening to the former Minister of Finance yesterday. This Kamara guy who served in the Sirleaf administration, and it was after his president. I mean, after he left the ministry, that's when Samuel Tua stepped in, and the guy did a comparison. He said for 12 years, the numbers are giving you tonight may not be 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea of what the guy was talking about. He said the Sirleaf administration, when they took over the country was in tatters. And you and I know that, Volcano. Nothing seems to be. They started with what? $80 million. Within 12 years period, he said, they were able to generate in taxes and with international support a little over $4 billion. 12 years. And within that 12 years, they use almost 90% of that money on what we call recurring expenditure, meaning salaries, maintenance of structures, government offices and other. And then the rest of the money went towards uh, investing into, meaningful areas in the country. And that was still minimal, right? Because if you even take it at the family level, if you are spending 90% of your money on recurring expenditure, you have a problem. 10% cannot do anything to really, stabilize the country. But they did that for 12 years. He said when Mr. Weah and his people came in, there was already a foundation. They left, according to Mr. Kamara, they left more than 140 million US dollars in the Liberian government account, for the incoming administration. And within the period of less than 6 years, the Weah administration was also able to generate a little bit less than $4 billion.
For
So
what?
look at the numbers.
For what?
The other people for 12
Hold
years,
on, Moses. You said for what? For
4
what?
billion, US dollars.
That's what we
The
as
we administration.
U.S. government.
Yes, in less than 6 years from tax generation and other incomes, they are being able to generate less than $4 billion. The other Sirleaf administration,
Are you saying
12 years.
billion or million?
I'm saying billion. I'm saying billion. I'm not saying million.
Okay.
$1 billion, US dollars, $1 billion. And look at the period. Someone did this in 12 years. Saliva administration, a little over $4 billion in 12 years. They use that money to run the country. And you have somebody who comes in after, with a solid foundation, everything in place. Salif and his people put everything in place. They just came. It's like, you take over a job, every structure is in place, and you just come to run it, right? So the expectation would be that you will do better as compared to the person who started from nowhere. So you came in less than 6 years, you raised almost $4 billion, right? But you use almost 98% of the money on recurrent expenditure. The president travels abroad on charter flight. During Salif administration, it was only the president and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. They did not even go on charter flight. What did they do? They flew wow, first class. Not even the Minister of Finance. In Weah's administration, the Minister of Finance, he flies wow, first class. So the Weah administration raised this money, but they use 98% of this money only for sustaining themselves. So you see the distinction between the two administrations. One person, 12 years, $4 billion. They started with $80 million. They raised it to $4 billion. You came, solid foundation, in less than 6 years, you raised almost $4 billion, but you use 98% of the money to sustain yourself. You charter plane for the
So let
president.
me let me come in here.
Yes, yeah.
Let me come in. Let me come in here.
hmm
Anyhow you look at it, between
Yeah.
the Ellie and the Weah, I don't
hmm
see much of a disparity.
No, there's a huge disparity, Volcano.
No, no, Moses, you made your point. You
Yeah,
made your
okay, go
point.
ahead. Yeah.
I don't see much of a disparity. Ellie came with a government that was bloated with the biggest salaries. She made people to make money that they never made, even here in the Americas. Some of the people here were doing nothing much, and they went home, some of them with fake degrees, and they paid them hefty salaries. So most of the monies went to people and in their pockets. They have not been able to build systems and infrastructures in our country, institutions. So I don't see much from Ellen to Weah. And the reason I say that,
Hmm.
Weah inherited something that was
In
in
place.
a situation that he would build upon.
Yes.
But because he doesn't have the know-how and he decides to what? Do it by himself and his way, and the people who are loyal to him, to the point that it hurts the country, the greater good of the country, that is why we're where we are. So when we talk about the gains, Ellen walked away as a super millionaire. Her children walked away as super millionaires. Her cronies, her relatives, her loved ones, they are sitting pretty.
I think it's being speculated.
What you call speculator, Moses? How will you sit here and be so disingenuous? Let me use the popular Liberian word. How will you say that?
Because I
And you
don't
tell
have
me
the
that Ellen
evidence.
Johnson Sirleaf will yearn for money?
No,
Is
I'm
Ellen
saying that
Johnson, I'm coming,
I do
I'm
not
coming,
have
Moses.
the evidence to prove that. Yeah.
What do you mean the evidence to prove that? So you have the evidence to prove that we are.
Oh yeah, it's public record. It's
So
public
you
record.
can see what. So you don't see what Ellen did when she was even cornered by an international journalist to talk
Yeah.
about corrupt practices, and she said the man was show body. Let's be practical here. I'm not coming here to come and say I will buy muff we are tonight and I will buy muff this person. But
No.
Ellen is not far from the corruption. Let's balance the equation here. Ellen is not far from the corruption. Ellen did corruption. That is why she decided to put we are in power. because she knew that we would be corrupt. And when his attention is focused on corruption, he will not pay attention to her. That is why she's under the shadow. That is why she doesn't want a Joseph Boycott. Let's be practically honest here tonight. That is why she wants Alexander Cummings to be able to continue to sustain. So it's no difference here.
Yeah.
Maybe is doing it a little too grandiose,
Mm-hmm.
and he's flaunting it in ways that everyone can see it because it's obvious. Liberia is a small country, Monrovia is a small environment that whenever you start to look good, everyone sees it. When you put one structure down, everyone sees it. It's a small country. But Ellen
Yeah.
did say it. And I just wanted
And
to clip that point
no,
because she's
you
no better than we are.
no, you struck a point, but Volcano, the point I was driving home is that let's look at the time period. 12 years, less than 6 years.
Miata Sterling, I'm very serious,
Yes.
Miata. I'm very, very serious here
Somebody
tonight.
used
With
$4 billion.
small baking
Okay.
better. I'm
Yeah.
very serious, Miata Sterling. I am serious here tonight. And the reason why I'm serious here, I know that all the politicians you're guy in Lana, the Cummings or the Bwaka or the what the other man, George Weah,
Gonglo
the
and other people.
the young boy, what his name, Moneybar, all what difference they will make? Miata, tell me, you tell me tonight. Type it down. I'll come back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So the point I was saying, look at the time period. Somebody used a little over $4 billion to run the country for 12 years. You have functional educational system. You have functional hospitals. Salaries were being paid on time. You saw growth, economic growth. You saw a projection in employment, creation of jobs. You saw that. And you got someone who came and made the foundation already in place. In less than 6 years, he generated almost $4 billion. What did he do? He used 98% of that money on recurrent expenditure, traveling abroad on charter plane. He tore down his 9th Street residence and built a mini mansion. He took time in less than 6 months. He built for himself 49 condominium Volcano. And you want to compare the man to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf?
Well, Ellen did
Look at
hers
the
in a way.
disparity between the two.
Ellen did hers in a way. Ellen was using other people to do the dirty work. Ellen
So
did hers in a way. Ellen did hers in a way because she was wrapped around the international community. She was wrapped around the people of the West, and she had to play. The old lady is smart. The old lady understands the international politics. Nobody can sit here with me tonight or on this show and anywhere in the country Liberia and tell me that Ellen is not corrupt. No one can
I
tell me
mean,
that.
nobody can say that. Nobody can
Nobody
say
can
that. I
tell me
myself will not
that.
even
That
say
Ellen
that.
government did not do corruption. The
I
records are
mean,
there, just like you
the go-
said.
yeah, the government
Now,
was to a
is
greater
it on the
extent
same?
corrupt.
Is it the same proportion?
Okay, that's the point I
No.
was making,
But the
Volcano.
point here is Ellen was smart. She did it so that she would get 12 years. We are knows that, listen, I'm coming here for one term and I will script. That's just the difference.
So
Now he's
Volcano,
script,
so
he's
then
script now, but he's
let me
trying now
let me
to
say
make a
that.
case to see
Yeah,
if he can
Volcano.
come back again. So that's what we're talking about, the personal ego. So as part of his selling points, Moses, he
Yeah.
stands there before the people and say, since 1847, Humber Road they built. I built the most roads.
Mhm.
Since 1847, who gave who paid why
Wise
fee?
fees.
I
Yeah,
pay
I'm the
why
one.
fee. Since
Yeah,
1847, who gave free education? I
I'm
gave
the
free
one.
education. Since 1847, who built more hospitals? I built more hospitals. So the boy cleaned up for 5 years, took everything he wants, enjoy his life, did as he pleases. Then now he's selling himself, but the wrong way, putting forth personal ego
Oh yeah,
at
yeah.
the
I mean,
detriment of a society that is dying, of a country that is a frame. Liberia is a skeleton frame. You want to know that Liberia looks like a frame? Be in the air and fly over Liberia, or put a drone over Liberia. We talked about the fields. We talked about the dirt. They have compounds. Some of the dirt have visas. Some of them have passports now. Some of the dirt have a skeleton. That's how long they've been in the neighborhoods. Some of the dirt have decayed until they can't decay no more. And then yet you're praising yourself. Your
the
officials
Labra
are
best
praising
preso, yeah.
themselves.
Mhm.
Rather be concerned about where we move our country in the presence of the international community, giving our country the image again. So no one national interest. That's what we're having this conversation, Moses. No one cares.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why we're having the discussion. We want people to be patriotic. We want people to be nationalist. And that's what we want. We want people that will put the interest of the country above personal ego. We don't want a finance minister that will come. You say, hey, I am going to launch what they call a mop-up exercise, take money to Nuclear Town, as he himself said it, and allegedly gave the money to money exchangers. Now, when he's questioned about that, he comes and says, oh, well, that's the work of the opposition. Did Mr. Tweed not say that? The president comes, he say he's what Labrador best preso. The finance minister comes and say he's the best finance minister Liberia has ever produced. But this is the same finance minister who told the world, including Liberians, that in less than 6 years, Mr. Weah elevated 27 million people from poverty. How do you reconcile that, Volcano? The population of Liberia is a little over
But they made a
5
correction.
million.
They made a correction. Further in the conversation, Philip Brown made him to clarify with Eugene Nangwe, and they said 27,000
What,
people. But
when did they clarify that?
27,000 people,
Okay.
27,000 people is a drop in the bucket. It's
Of
an
course,
absolute drop in the bucket.
it doesn't add up. It doesn't add
No,
up.
no, no, no. What I'm saying, 27,000 people is a
Mhm.
drop in the bucket. When you
That's what
think
I'm saying.
about,
I'm saying I'm agreeing with you that even if you say you elevated 27,000 people out of poverty, what yardstick did you use to determine that you elevated people? How many jobs have you created? Let's even agree that you created 27,000 jobs. So it means that you have led the country for a little over what? 5 years. Let's say almost 6 years. It means that you were creating less than 4,000 jobs per year, or a little over 4,000 jobs per year. That's a failure. Because when they came to power, what did they promise the people of Liberia? They say within the first 6 years, they were going to create 1 million jobs. That's what Mr. Weah, that's what Samuel Twain and the other people told the people of Liberia, Volcano. So if Samuel Twain comes and say they elevated, let's say, let's accept that yes, it's no longer 27 million, it's now 27,000. So you say you elevated 27,000 people. Let's accept that. Volcano, a country of
but
a little
Moses,
over 5 million?
That's what I
Yeah,
said. The number is a drop in the bucket. It should be more than
absolutely.
that. But but let's define poverty.
Yes.
Let's define poverty.
Mhm.
What's the definition of lifting 27,000 people out of poverty? What is
Absolutely.
the definition?
What is that
Operationalize
definition?
it. Put it in the context of tangibilities.
Yes.
Is the man living in a modern house with
Don't forget about
electricity
even more
pipe
than
on
that.
well? Huh?
Volcano, don't even go too high.
No,
Can a man feed himself? Can he get 3 regular meal a day? Is
is
this
the
person
salary coming
mobile?
on time?
Yeah.
Is the, is the salary coming on time?
Coming on time? Go ahead. Let me give you the chance. Go
So he
ahead.
didn't define poverty. Okay?
No.
He didn't define poverty. Neither did he define the elevation or the status for which that person was put or placed as a result of being removed from
Mhm.
poverty. What is the
Yeah.
definition of poverty in the context of the Liberian setting?
hmm
Because
And what are
millions
those
of people are
indicators
poor.
that are? Yeah. Go ahead.
Millions of people are poor in Liberia, but you wonder how they're surviving.
Mhm.
You wonder how many people you see sleeping on streets in Liberia. How
Few.
many people? The people are proud. They would rather sleep in a zinc house. If I one cup of rice with chicken soup, they will eat it. You will not even know that they're that poor because they're hustling, they're scrambling, they're moving about. So, how do we define poverty within the context of the Liberian setting? And 27 million people, how indigent they were, and to where the Samuel Toure and the WIA government put them to define that they have completely removed, that they were
Yeah,
completely
they have
removed
elevated them now.
the
Yeah.
possibilities and opportunities of that government to put them in a decent place. Are they going in the middle class? Are they going in the first class? So we don't know. But Samuel Toure is the young man who talks with the words coming out of the side of his mouth, and he hears them himself, and he feels proud. He
Yeah.
always feels that he's the most known
Educated.
man. You know, they call it the man. He's the
Yeah.
known man in the weird government.
Yeah.
And he will just go to the president Weir and say, "My man, don't worry, I got you, Paku.
I
Don't
got
worry,
it,
I
man.
got
I will
you.
take care of that. Yeah.
I got it." And
Yeah.
he comes and he just talks of the side of his mouth, and it passes through his ear, and he hears them himself. That's what you're hearing, you know. So this whole thing about personal aggrandizement, personal accolades, personal titles, we need to move away from it. We need to start
Absolutely.
to focus on nationalism. We need to start to focus on patriotism. We need to start to focus on the image of our country. How are we going to collectively restore the image of our country? We want to move from the humorous segment in the issues room. What type of country is this? We
Yeah.
want to move from that what type of country is this to look at this country now.
Improvement in life. Yeah.
Yes,
Look at our
yes.
country,
Look at
where they
this
are.
country
Yeah.
now
hmm
instead of what type of country is this. We don't want
Yeah.
to ask that question for so
Now,
long. We want to be
now
able to say,
we want to come back and say
yeah,
the Liberia of today.
look at where we are now.
And you know,
But we
Volcano.
just,
Yeah.
dive in to this personal, what you call it, oh, I'm the best football player. I'm the MVP in the county league. I build more hospitals in the country. I give free WASI fees. I build more roads.
Everything is I.
I give free education. You want me to name more? I'm the only president who fly private jet every day. I'm the only president who went to the World Cup. No other president has ever gone to the World Cup. Then I went there for 50 days. They were paying me 2,000 incidental fund. I'm the only president that went to the coronation of the King of England. I'm the only president who took selfie with Joe Biden. I'm the only this. I'm the only that.
I'm the
This
only
has to
president who
stop,
traveled
Mr.
for
President.
almost 50 days away from the
Mr.
country.
President, you're not a regular guy. You are the president. You don't have to preach your own sermon. You don't have to speak for yourself. Let your work do speak for you. The work you're doing, let it speak for you. Stop all of this personal aggrandizement. Start to focus on what do I do for Liberia to put Liberia back in the community of nations. When was the last time were you at the AU? When was the last time were you in an ECOWAS meeting? When has any group of presidents visited Liberia. These are the things that you need to start to contemplate. Your foreign minister still has clout over his head. We don't even know what is happening with him. The image of your country is so blurred that even the plane that come into Liberia barely can land. That they got to be flying back when they come to land. There's no light on the airport. They got to find another route. Those are the things you should be focused on rather than continuing to think about yourself. This self is too much now, Mr. President. Your associates are all about themselves. We have to recalibrate to bring our country back in the sanity of nations. It's not always the community, it's the sanity of nations. We have
Yeah,
to move now in that direction.
I agree. And now let's look at his able lieutenants in reference to the very discussion we're having, personal ego versus national interest. And I would like for us to look at the Ebola, quote unquote, Ebola hero,
Let me just
the
read this quick.
senator. Yeah.
Hold on one second, Mo. Yumantro Kringa says here, Liberia is in a bad place right now. The country is dirty, garbage everywhere. Dead bodies lying on the streets of our country. Our people are suffering. The police takes 72 hours to remove dead bodies off the streets. What kind of law is that? No law and order in our country. Our people are suffering. He said he just got back.
Yeah. And Volcano, just to piggyback on what you just read, I don't know if you heard it, but I listened to Spoon yesterday. You guys will travel to Liberia on a consistent basis. I'm gonna tell you, my brother, when you drive in that country, you have to be very careful. There was a there was a report on one. I mean, there was a report about uh double motor accident on one of the highways. A truck broke down for Volcano, and the driver of that truck let the truck in the middle of the road. The first vehicle went and ran into that truck. People died. Yet the police, the government, did nothing to remove that truck from the middle of the highway. And then yesterday, another vehicle also went and ran into the same truck. I think another group of people also died. Volcano, where is the national interest? Where is the national interest? Can that happen in any society? Of course, the government will be held liable. The government has a responsibility to ensure what? Road safety. A vehicle breaks down and you let it stay there. What happened to the owner of that vehicle? What happened to the owner of that truck? Volcano, I want you to comment on this because you run in and out. Share your experience with us tonight.
I mean, Moses is a fact. It's a fact. When you go to Liberia and you break down in the middle of the road,
Mm.
the people tend to fix the car right in the middle of the road. The man jacks the car up and go right underneath it. But they
Can you
don't even
imagine?
provide, barricade, and it's just that bad. Now, how do you get some of those broken down vehicles off the road when you don't have the right kind of mechanical means to do that? You would need another truck, like what we
A tow
call
truck. Yeah,
like a
tow
jack
truck.
truck. You all say
Mhm.
tow truck, you all say jack truck. You would need a jack truck. You gotta speak in the Liberian way.
I
You
know,
need a
man.
jack truck, which is a tow truck, to move that broken
You
vehicle
need to jack the man up, man.
off the road. But if you have functional city governments, that's what I
Yeah.
say. It's
Yeah.
not all about the national government, Moses. If
Mhm.
you have functional city governments must build their own capacities. The Painesville City Corporation should be able to generate taxes of its own It shouldn't be central government coming to collect taxes in Pinsville when you have a functioning government. When I pay my taxes in my city here in America and in my county, I'm paying my city tax, I'm paying my county tax. I've never seen me pay a federal tax in terms of property, and stuff like that. Federal tax come out of my paycheck, but not for me on my property and what I own, right?
No, that's
It's
it.
going to the
No.
local
To the
government.
economy, yeah.
So the local government must be able to generate their own funds, must be able to put in place the necessary departments, functional departments that will be able to address some of these things in the cities. So, for instance, they're easily able to run to ELW Junction and put a clamp around your car when you park, but they don't have tow truck to remove broken cars from the street. They're able to come and shut down your business, but they don't provide the alternative as to why your business is being shut down. What are some of the reasons why your business is being shut down? So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And our roads, um, all of the roads we have in Liberia, except the boulevard and the new road they built out there in the Gandasville area, which is now called which is Japanese Highway, or which was formerly Somalia Drive. Those are the only two lane going, two lane coming. Everywhere else, that one lane going, one lane coming, and no shoulders. So as a result, sometimes the people will stop in the middle of the road to offload because there's no shoulder. You can't blame them. And then if the car breaks down, they don't have the capacity and means to remove it off the road. So at that point, if the city had, tow truck, or the government had tow truck, they can come and find those people or charge them to remove the vehicle off the road and get paid for it. Otherwise, they can confiscate the vehicle until that money is paid, or they auction the vehicle. Those things happen here in this country. But the people only want to steal. I say this time and time immemorial, Moses. They only want to steal, but they don't know how to make money to replenish their steals, to replenish their gains. And that is why we are suffering as a nation. We got more rogues than we have innovators. We got more criminals than we have nationalists. We have more criminals than we have people who have common sense. We have more criminals than we have people who mean well for the country. How can you get appointed to a place where it's a functioning agency, then you ask if chopping there? You are the one who's supposed to go in that place
You
to
sort of
make it
create
functional
opportunities.
and
Yeah,
to
you
create
probably,
chopping.
yeah.
But you ask if chopping there, no, I won't go to that place because no chopping there. So you already coming with a mindset to steal. That is why we're suffering as a
Yeah.
country. Brain drain society, Moses. Some of the razor sharp concept that you and myself have, you can put me in any little silo, I will be able to turn it around. But the people don't go there with that mindset. They go there to from the beginning
Mhm.
steal. So you got more criminals than you have think tankers in our country. And until we can change that, until the brightest minds can come together and save our country. It doesn't matter who you put in power, it doesn't matter who you make president. If that president is not one of the brightest minds, if that president is not one of the innovators, if that president doesn't think beyond themselves, national interest, we're not going anywhere. With Joe Parker, with Ellis Cummings, with George Weah, with Clarence Moneybar, with Dr. Telfa Amos, with all of the presidential candidates, we're not going anywhere if they don't put them their personal aggrandizement aside and they become think tankers. They become futuristic thinker, forward thinkers. We're not going anywhere, my brother.
Yeah. And so
We have
now,
a serious problem, Moses. It's a serious problem. The problem is so mammoth to the point that sometimes I lay there in my bed and I ponder and I say, what can I do for my country? What contribution can I give to a community in my country? But the environment has to be enabling. You have to be given the opportunity to do some things, and that is why we're having these conversations. We have these conversations because we want people to know that we have the intellect to
Hmm.
help change the status quo.
Yeah.
But do they like people like us? No. They say we hate them.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You ain't like the ball. You ain't like the government. You ain't like this person. You ain't like that person. No. It's not that we don't like this person or that person. What I always say, Moses, is what a person fails to do. In your own family, you always use your family, you know,
Yeah. Situation. Yeah.
what you fail to do in your home fails your family.
Of course.
What you fail to do in your country fails your country. What you fail to do for your citizens, for your communities, for your societies, for your youth, fail them. And especially when the resources are there. When the resources are there. I was watching some clip on the former employee LBS page.
Yeah.
Wilson McLean, Commerce Minister, he was still talking about the shipment of rice coming to the country. But these are the people who killed Toba for rice business.
Hmm.
But they were still talking about rice. We come to Taylor, rice. We come to Ellen, rice. We come to George Weah, rice. And we have one of the most fertile soils on the continent of Africa. But we can't grow our own rice because there's no person with national interest. It's all about personal greed. If George Weah were to say, I will feed the Liberian people and they will feed themselves by the honest living, instead of me giving $11 million to a rice importer and pretending to do a pay wires fee and flying private jet, I'll put all that money and we'll start a serious rice farming across the country. We bring in, foreign investor, but you put an agriculture minister. I don't even know when the last time she planted pepper. So we got a serious problem.
But look, Volcano, I would say do not even pick a fight with the Minister of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture, even in past administration, has always been treated as a stepchild. In terms of budgetary allocation, they get the least. And that's the ministry that need to really be supported, but they
But I
give
tell
them the
you
least.
quickly, from what I
Mm,
know, under Ellen's
mhm,
government, Ministry of
mm.
Agriculture was well supported. But she
Okay.
brought 2,000 years old Florence Chenoweth back because our her own home girl. She brought her old Florence Chenoweth back. And they came there only to get the money the money that they squandered over the time. They came back to get it, and that's why we didn't plan the first rice farm.
Yeah.
Agriculture was well supported under Ellen government. I'll tell you that for a fact. Call Hassan Kewu. He was director of communications. He will tell you.
Okay. Okay. But into this Liberia, that ministry remains unsupported. It's one of the least supported.
But jumping there, you'll be surprised. I'm telling you.
But so now let's look at some of the individuals that align their personal ego to impact national interest in a negative way. Let's start with the Senator of Montserrat County, Sir Joseph, the quote unquote Ebola hero. The Liberian government has the Monrovia Transit Authority. The purpose of the MTA is to make public transportation affordable for the poor. The very government that he works for that claim to be, elevating people from what? Poverty, or that claim to have elevated people from poverty. What did Sir Joseph do? He came here, he got some of these used buses, these yellow buses, and took them to Monrovia and gave them to the leadership, the county leadership of Montserrat County, and introduced a transportation system that undermine the work of the MTA. Does that not equate to conflict of interest? MTA is charging at a lower fare, and you work in government, you're a senator for the county, you introduce a transportation system that lower the fares than what the MTA charges. So you and MTA are now competing. Does that not equate to conflict of interest?
Forget about the conflict of interest connotation. Also look at the fact that it's personal ego,
It's
because
personal ego
this is how I can sustain myself as a senator.
as a senator. Yeah.
The
You
people
see
will
that
vote for me
volcano? Yeah.
because I lower the price of transportation in my personal industry.
Hmm. So I can
But
get popular. Oh, yeah, that's how
so,
Joseph
so
did
let's
this.
not
Or
stay on
Joseph
one
did this.
person for long. Go to
Okay.
Finabondo, the
Oh,
rescue mother. Continue, my man.
I will let you. The rescue model, right? We have a risk youth. The guys, the government pays little or no attention to them. But what does the government do? The government, on an annual basis, especially during holiday time, for Mr. Weah to be seen as the people's man, he sends the quote unquote rescue mother to the Zogos and get each of them 5,000 Liberian dollars. How can someone who is an addict, who is just looking for every opportunity to get money, and you take 5,000 Liberian dollars to give it to that man without paying attention to his addiction problem? Instead of trying to get this man off the street to heal him, but you gave him money. When you do that, are you not enabling the man behavior? Of course you are. But why is this happening? Fina wants to be popular. George Weah wants to say, I am the president. The people got my back. I will get their votes. It's not about nationalism. Let's look at Jefferson Koji.
Stop there. Let me add the thing that. So
Yeah.
the money she takes to go and share with the boys, she
Hmm.
could have put that money in the mental health James Grant or what they call
Hmm.
hospital and
Hmm.
say, hey, my people, you have my little contribution here. You buy drugs, you buy food. Or you
Yeah.
even go to Darius Dillon and say, Darius, you did well. Thank you.
We help.
It's no shame. Here's my owner support here. Put it to this rehab facility you established to help our people. That's what
Hmm.
we're talking about. That's the
Yeah.
national interest. You're
Yes.
not putting it, you're not putting yourself in front of it.
No.
And even my contribution, Darius, don't tell nobody rescue mother came here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my contribution.
My
But
personal
rescue
gift.
mother goes somewhere, rescue mother walking with her arm,
Yeah.
walking, the,
Yeah.
everybody should be there. Then Colasco there with his camera or his phone, and the
Yeah.
rescue mother is
He taking
sitting there,
pictures.
just
Yeah.
got by
Yeah.
one of the Zoko camp, and rescue mother dishing out money.
This
Those are not,
Liberian dollars.
that's not what we talk. So we understand what's going on with you here tonight. We're not what you call it, negative here tonight. We're just talking about what we
We just
expect
discussing.
of our
Yeah.
leaders. People shouldn't be putting themselves in front of the country.
Yeah.
Everything we do must be for the country's image. When we
For
have a
the good.
scientist, when we are playing football, they say, oh, Liberia was on the map of soccer because of Weah.
We are.
So
Yeah.
why now Weah is president, Liberia is not on the map?
It's not on the map. Instead, the
Why?
country is declining.
Yes, that's the
Soccer
point
in the
we're
country is
making.
declining. Yeah, soccer is declining. Eh? Jefferson Koji, this man, just few years ago, he could not afford to pay even his own rent. I am told you go to Vonjama, Lofa County, he has a state of the art radio and television station. You have the national broadcaster, the Liberia Broadcasting System. can better survive. Poor budgetary allocation, no support. But you have a Jefferson Koji. You take government money and give it to Jefferson Koji to go to Lofa to put up a radio station. Personal ego versus what? Nationalism. George Weah himself. You remember when he donated the pickups and SUVs, motorbikes to the traditional chiefs. You remember that, right, Volcano? Last year. What did he do? You look at each of these motorbikes and the SUVs and pickups, you have that donated by President Weah. Taxpayers' money on the vehicles carry the label donated by His Excellency George Manuel Weah. Where is the interest? Where's the national interest? When he came to the presidency, what did he do? He introduced the quote-unquote what? Weah's project. You remember that, right, Volcano? Dipping into government's money, putting up makeshift structures in the community, and calling that Weah's project. Mr. Weah, everything cannot be about you. Why Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did not go all over the country saying that Sirleaf, donated by President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? Why Samuel Doe didn't do that? Why Charles Taylor didn't do that? Everything donated by George Weah. Weah's project. The makeshift or public housing thing he started. They call it what? Weah's project. You use taxpayers' money and call it Weah's project? Volcano. You guys are jokers for me.
We're going to be doing 1.5 hour. We
Mhm.
At 8:12 now.
Yes. We'll soon
So
be wrapping
quickly,
up. Yeah.
let me just check in with Miata Sterling. Miata
Mhm.
is concerned here about why the conversation tonight, because she says that, why spend more time on this subject, because we already know these people. But I believe,
Okay.
Miata, in my spirit, that what I said earlier, I want to reiterate before we go through memory lane and what type of country is this, that we have candidates vying for the presidency on October 10th. My concern is whoever becomes president should be concerned about restoring the country, not making name for themselves. That's why we're having this conversation. Personal ego versus national interest. A person who will scale back on lavishing travels to nowhere with no results. A person who will invite the rest of the world to come and see and help. A person who will create an enabling environment to attract investment, who will shatter corruption, who will stand up and speak against it all day, every day, and who will chastise those who want to damage the country's future. That's the kind of person I'm looking forward to come October 10th. That is why we're holding this conversation. We're not looking for another person with a doctor honorifics. We're not looking for another person with his excellency and honorable. In America, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Very rarely do guys put handles to those people's name. Very rarely. You see newscasters, Mr. Biden. They don't go there, His Excellency Dr.
President.
Joe Biden. This
It's
is too
Mr.
much
Biden. Yeah.
For
Too
that
much.
country, that country that don't even have, we don't even find a name now in many places. I was going to do some kind of transaction the other day to do a passport size picture. And the lady said, "What you want a passport size picture for?" I said, "Liberia." She looked on the list, there's no Liberia. My brother, Ghana
So,
was there.
so she gave you asthma, man.
Ghana was there. And
She
I'm
said,
sitting
spell
down
it for me,
myself.
right? She asked you
Just
to
the
spell
other
it.
day, Liberia was Liberia.
Yeah.
And look at where we have put ourselves. And Liberia is not where it's at because some foreign nations came and put us there. Like you have the situation with Russia and the Ukraine. Liberia is where it's at because Liberians put her there. And only the Liberians who will not be of greed and who will not look at personal ego. Those Liberians who want their country back in the comity of nation, in the sanity of nation, are the Liberians who should inherit the leadership of our country. And that's my hope,
Absolutely right.
Miata Sterling, Stella Herring. That's my hope. That is why we're having this conversation. Because it is too much. These titles are too much. You go on a podcast, you go in there and you put your name, doctor. And some of the doctorate degree that just doctor of you mean. Somebody, some university and put it on you. And yeah.
Yeah, and you
You
take
didn't
it,
even
you
go
run
to
away
school
with
for
it.
it. What you putting that thing around here for?
Because you said
What you put
doctor.
the honorable to your name for? What makes you an honorable?
When did you
What the
become an
ambassador to
honorable?
your name for?
Hmm.
What all that want for?
No.
That don't mean nothing.
You look at
And even if you earn a doctorate degree, does it matter? I work with people with doctorate degree. They said, just call me John, just call me Paul. When you're trying to say Dr. Brown, they say, no, just call me Paul. It
they don't have
doesn't
time.
matter. That is why our country where is at. Everybody wants a title. Go in Liberia. Everybody wants a title. You got more titles than you have the country image making any sense. So
Everybody.
that's why we're having this conversation: personal ego versus national interest.
Yeah.
But listen, Moses,
Hmm.
we got to do memory lane.
Yeah.
Um, I tell you, Moses,
But Volcano, quickly, if I could just throw this in, we have spoken a lot about people in the executive, right? Let's say a personal ego, what they call legislative projects. You call yourself a lawmaker. Can't you make a law that will make it, imperative for government to invest into your communities, into your counties? But you want to take $30,000 on an annual basis. You say you're doing legislative projects so your name can come up. Oh, it is Volcano that built that. Why can't
yeah,
you
but
do something as
it's
a
all about
unified?
re-election. That's why.
Yeah.
All right, Moses.
Yeah, let me stop there and give it
We
in.
we have memory lane here tonight, reading by Dr. A. Manis Sumo. Again, the A. Not, oh, he moved the doctor tonight. He said he want doctor. Okay.
So the metro the
All
near
right.
way.
Memory lane by Augustine Manis Sumo. There were normal days, and our founding fathers were found in Liberia. The Pele, Bele, Gwezi, or Kwesi, Kwese, rather, people used to live in North Sudan during the 16th century before fleeing to other parts of Northwest Africa into what is now Mali. Before and after the fall of the Mali Empire, the Pele had found new homes in today's Republic of Guinea, Mauritania, Chad, and Liberia. In Mende language, Pele means people of peace. The Pele leaders were sought to give advice or counsel peace during the days of the Sudan and Mali empires. The Pele people are believed to be related to mystical people or to the mystical people knowing Liberia as the Jinas. The Jinas are highly intelligent people with mystical powers and very intelligent. It is believed that these Jinas still live in the jungles of Liberia in Bong County, not far from the Patawi. So it was in 1964 when President Tubman decided to expand his rule into the hinterland, and so Bong County was established. But long before that, Portuguese named that part of Liberia Bong. Our Kwele people used to call their home Zezia or Zezia. Zezia or Zezia is the name of the mountain in that part of our land, which was named by the Portuguese as Bong Range for navigational purposes. So when the Tubman's administration decided to establish Zezia or Zezia into a county, they named our county Bong County. My people, what is wrong with us Liberians? We believe so much in copycats. We took the white man's names when we named our homes, their names too. Amen. The Portuguese only gave that name to Zezia for navigational purposes. They did not ask us to change or take their bone name. Can we think about it? We are Zezia County. If so, be it. Our county is originally known as Zezia or Zizia. I know our forefathers are rolling in their graves. Thankfully, we were lucky to keep our capital as Banga. In Pele, Banga means own the farm. Legend has it that long before Zezia became Bong, a certain Kwele man began his farming on the site known today as Banga. He and his family began spending more and more days on his farm. And when people ask him, "Where have you been?" he will answer, "I have been on the farm, Banga." He was a productive farmer, and for this, the other nearby villagers began to farm close to him. They too began spending time, more days, more weeks, and months on their farms. The farms turned into adjoining villages and adjoining towns, and Ye Banga was born. In 1964, Banga became the capital of Bong County. A good historical piece here written by Augustine Sumo, um, who doesn't prefer to be called Dr. Sumo today because he doesn't want personal ego.
Let me put the title away today, but again, another great piece, well researched. I learned a lot of new things today about bone county. I didn't know that before. So let me join the many people out there in saying thank you to my friend and brother Dr. Sumo, for a job well done. We really appreciate his creative work. He really puts a lot of time into this volcano.
Let me say this
This is
quick. Some people
very
thinking that this
outstanding.
is a poem. This is not a poem.
Oh
This is
no,
a historical piece.
raising my
It's
hand.
not a poem. Okay, this is a historical piece. I didn't know that Bon County was named by the name Bon came from the Portuguese.
I
I
got no
always
idea,
knew that
volcano.
that land was called Zezia, and so this is not a poem. It's just a historical piece that we thought to share from memory lane.
He did a
But
great
what type
job.
of country is this when people just force it? They just make it laugh for nothing. What type of country is this? What's it?
Whatever country is this, when the former Chief Justice complained to authority on two different occasions that her safety and the safety of her family was in danger. The third time, unknown persons went, murdered her daughter. And today, this woman is sitting in prison. What type of country is this, Volcano? What type of country is this?
Whatever country is this? Well, the other Stella Harry, just thinking for some here tonight. Because I say some people, she said, don't say some people. I only asked the question, I got it. Miada, ma Miada, listen, you're in the issues room. This is where we go. Whatever country is this? She said, come on in. I'm not forcing. I have an inquiring mind. Thank you, Mamiada. Thank you. This is the humorous section now.
Yeah,
Whatever
Beata, we
country is
got you
this?
back.
Whatever country is this, Moses?
Yeah,
Where everybody just want title to the name.
yeah.
Lately, my man, the thing has become so
Oh,
profound. You
Volcano.
see some of the honorable name, you be wondering, you be asking, but what made him honorable?
Love, Volcano, you struggle. You struggle there. I beg you, let me stop you. The other day I was on, on Facebook and I was watching the podcast by a lady. All along, I know this lady to just carry the regular name. But that day I saw she had ambassador affixed to her name. I said, when did this woman become an ambassador?
So I think the humor here is that we're joking
Everybody
about it,
got
but
tattoos, my
some
man.
of some of the folks who put ambassador to their name
Mhm,
because they think that they're messengers
mhm.
in a particular situation. Some people can be ambassador in the community because they're propagating change. Some people can be ambassador for political reasons. Some people, so an ambassador is one who carries a message. So
Yeah,
I
but it
believe
is
that's
comfort.
where sometimes they're coming from. But
Mhm.
but the honorable part are the one that can battle me. You see some of the honorable here, my man. You be wondering who the other honorable here.
And my
What type
man,
of country is this? Where
Bukele.
the president won all the title,
Yeah,
all the accolades.
yeah, the best athlete award of the year, the best footballer of the year, the best basketball player, the best womanizer.
That one are you.
My man, the man wants all the accolades. We give it to him.
What type
La
of
bro,
country is
best
this,
person.
Moses? That the finance minister
Yeah,
sits there and make all that mess,
yeah.
and it takes his former boss to come now and say all that thing that man talking
That's also false. Oh.
like babati.
Look, unless the man will say he's the finest Liberian, finance minister. What type of country is this? The man comes on a talk show. I mean, he comes on a live radio interview. He calls himself Liberia funniest finance minister. And I listened to a brother from his own country who had the opportunity of working with him. He said, look, I just want to look at the two finance ministers. He said, when I was in Liberia, I worked with Mr. Kamara when he was at the finance ministry. Mr. Kamara, I want to tell you thank you for the great job you did. And I also had the privilege of working with the other finance minister. He said when Kamara was at the finance ministry, we needed to do some work at the agency that I ran. Kamara said, if the people pledge $40 million and they say we should just make the initial commitment of $3 million, I will make that money available. And he made the money available. The international community gave Liberia $40 million. The other finance minister, he came with all the investment from the international community. What did the other finance minister do? He he reduced the salary of all the guys that were working in the laboratory, and everybody terminated. I mean, everybody abandoned their jobs. The guy said all the equipment was just sitting there. What kind of finance minister is this? Volcano?
Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this where young men wear suits every day
Every day.
to go beg for money at the various ministries and agencies?
Yeah.
What type of country is this? Emmanuel Jackson, the government can't afford to pay civil servants. So the police goes at night at checkpoints and harass the motorists to give them flashlight battery money.
Yeah, man.
What type of country is this? They cannot provide logistics for security, but they can provide logistics to ensure they are secured.
Oh yeah.
What
What
type
type
of
of
country
country
is
is
this,
this?
Moses?
What type of country is this that defeated, quote unquote 27 million people out of poverty, but you can't you can't keep your hospitals running.
What type of country is this where they have done nothing to upgrade the prison system? Now the prison system is ready to engulf them, take them
Yeah.
in, and they say the place too nasty.
Yes, they come and
The time they
experience
were
what
in, the time they were in position, they did nothing to improve the prison system. Now the prison system ready to host them, and they say the place nasty. What type of country is this, Moses?
whatever country it is,
And you
yeah.
one of the people that vest say, oh, when they carrying the woman that I tell them, I can put my animal there. But when they were in power, they did nothing. They did nothing to make sure the place was ready for them.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah,
And
but
say, Joe,
I,
listen
I'm
now,
just looking
Joe,
at the
hey,
condition.
hold on. A Joe, he said, don't take that. You could be, hey, you saw what
Of
happened to Willie
course.
Manny? Hold on.
Oh,
Hey, you saw what
Charles
happened to
Taylor.
no, you did Brian.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
I didn't
he
send a
was
man there. Yeah, I didn't send a man there. I didn't send a man.
so that's
So
what
who
I'm
knows?
saying. So
But
what type of
but
country is this?
what
The
type of
very
country is
institution
this?
where you're supposed to retire in, you don't put it together for your retirement.
And Volcano, look, who knows? Life being so unpredictable, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
and I can wake up tomorrow morning and they say, well, no, the situation in Liberia has changed. And George Weah is sitting at the very central prison today. Who knows? I mean, don't get me wrong now. We're not wishing evil. I'm just being hypothetical here. Anything can happen at any time,
What
Volcano,
type of
in
country
life.
is this? Kamasawachi, where the government did not accomplish anything in 6 years.
Yeah, what type of country is this? What type of country is this?
What
You
type of
raise
country is this? Arthur Dole says that the free 500 the last time sent it right back in the community. Because
Brother
they had to make
Joe.
room. The men
Yeah,
had to make, they were making room for Gloria Scott.
yeah. But but you know what, Volcano? They were
Yeah.
constrained to pull those 500 people out because no space, my man, no accommodation. So they needed to create rooms for other people. So they said, my man, let people go about. We didn't even get food yet to feed the people. Let people go. Miata, Miata, man, look,
Yeah, that will soon be
we
wrapping
enjoy
up.
your company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 minutes. Thank you for being here with us. What type of country is this that even don't have title in Liberia to be relevant?
I'll tell you, what type of country is this? Everybody, it's either ambassador or honorable.
Thomas
what the
Owaki, what type of country is this where you work as a civil servant for
Well, for
50
50
years
years?
but only get $20 per month for pension?
But can you imagine that volcano? Yeah. My man, that's sad.
Irregular, he should have said irregular $20
Yeah, irregular 29. My
because
man,
it's not even coming.
my man, can you imagine that you work for 50 years and your
Yeah.
pension is $20, man? Hey, man.
Moses?
Yeah.
I want to thank
What?
everyone for showing up here tonight. Let me quickly run down the numbers
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
Thomas Awaji, Miata Stella Herring. It was good seeing you, man. Good to see you here tonight. Shaggy McCaffey, Arthur Dole, Say thank you for showing up here tonight, Emmanuel Jackson, as usual. Uh, Fergie Monu, the extraordinaire, he's always here with us. Say thank you, my brother, for stopping by. All of you who we didn't get to see because you didn't post in the chat here tonight. Alexander Boniface, Emmanuel Hayes, thank you for joining us here tonight. It was good seeing you. Flomo Livingstone, as usual. Thank you. You Montreal Kringa, Ruthie Abba Hayford. Thank you for being here, Ruthie. It was good seeing you. Wow, Ruthie, you made it. You made it in the issues room.
Thank
Amen.
you.
So, thank you, Dr. Sumo. Let me put a doctor there. It was good seeing you, Yvonne. Hey, yo, Gilbert Thomas, uh, Blaboga. Yeah, I think I got it right. Thank you to everyone. We're here on our 164th edition. We discussed personal ego versus national interest, the case of Liberia. I'll be back here on Tuesday, God's willing, with another presentation. We're here Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm broadcasting from Coon Rapids in Minnesota. Tuesday broadcast with me back on the East Coast. As you can see, my lighting tonight is not as profound in my main studio out there on the East Coast. So that's why I'm looking at Babu G.
But you look good.
Very, very dark. But Moses, it was good hanging
Change.
out. I gotta get to business. We are here for the second annual, um, actually, it's the Oliver Gibson second annual Global Gospel Musical Convention. Tonight is the meet and greet. I should be running by there now. And tomorrow will be the business session. Sunday and the dinner ball, and then Sunday will be the musical uh, inspiration and ministering. And then I'll be out of here on Monday. Should be back on the East Coast. So
Thank you. Wish you well, man. Wish
yeah,
everyone well.
yeah.
Safe trip and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank
Enjoy,
you.
my brother.
Thank you, everyone. We enjoy being with you always. And by the grace of God, we'll be back Tuesday. Volcano
Thank you.
Shout, Moses Sandy on behalf of Alfonso Yenu, who couldn't be here with us tonight. We say thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Mhm. Bye.